we just heard Mark Cuban and from his lips about the trading range, from his lips to God's ears about the trading range. Do you feel that at this point you're starting to see some signs of a bottoming process at this point?
So first, how can you not love someone as smart, as entrepreneurial as Mark Cuban, who loves sports and uses phrases like new normal and cascading? Love him. I totally agree with him that we are in a very volatile range, but we're in a volatile range for now around a downward trend still. So you can play the volatility, but recognize that the most likely outlook is still down. And that's because we've entered a new phase, Joe. It is not just about economic deleveraging. And all morning long, you've been talking about layoffs. You've been talking about what's going on. This is economic deleveraging. We also are having financial deleveraging now that's accelerating. And the Fed has finally moved into more focused and laser-focused measures, and that's a really good thing. But it's moving quickly. So be careful of this combination of economic and financial deleveraging. It takes its own dynamics.
Mohamed, I still, do you feel that in past market moves, you're excellent at predicting as well as summarizing what's happening as we speak? Would it be possible that the market knows something positive before we do? In other breaks, it usually does. In this one, I don't know if even the collective wisdom of the market can handicap the pandemic or what our chances are to bend to flatten the curve in this country. So I don't know whether it's a completely different situation this time or not, or whether you can use old, consensus indicators to try to find a maximum bearishness, and whether that works when the next day you might find out something just horrific that from the pandemic.
So I think, once again, the financial markets will turn way before the real economy turns. They will lead the real economy. Second, importantly, I think when that turns happen, it will be very sharp. So you will get much more of a V-like tendency than you will get in the economy, which will be like a U that feels more like an L. But importantly, I think this time around, Joe, what turns the market first is not going to be because it has figured something out before the real economy has, because of exactly what you said. This is about health. This is about fear. This is about things that the market is very hard to predict. The reason why is because it will overshoot. It will overshoot to a level where people will look at the cost benefit, will look at the asymmetrical risk and say, you know what, I'll bet on it here. So yes, the financial markets will turn first and will do so in a violent manner, but it's because it will overshoot the situation.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's possible when we're on this side of what there was a peak in China that came, and then because perhaps they got a handle on it as far if we believe what they're telling us, but then you look other places where obviously the point of getting it under control seemed to go past. And I think as long as we're on the other side of not knowing whether we can get it under control like China or South Korea, it's hard on any given day for traders to feel enough confidence to stay long for more than overnight, not even long enough.
Yeah, but remember the phases. Look, I completely agree with you, but remember, 6-7 weeks ago, I kept on saying, be careful of what happens when you get an economic sudden stop. We haven't gone through this before. We've never had a global economic sudden stop. It is really ugly. Then my next thing was respect technicals. Technicals are now in charge. Okay. Now, the next stage you're going to hear me say is, this is an overshoot, guys. I know how bad it is out there, and it will get worse economically. Not only are we looking at a very sharp recession, we may have a depression. I just tweeted, it's very important to understand what happens when economic and financial deleveraging come together. But markets will overshoot, Joe. That is the judgment. And like Mark, people who entered this, including me, with a ton of cash, very, very risk averse in terms of our positioning, have started nibbling. And we nibble on things that have very, very strong balance sheets.